everyone, welcome to another series on my IGTV. This I'm going to call Newbie DM Diaries because I am going to start DMing, dungeon mastering, I don't know if that's what you would call it, dungeon mastering my first ever game of Dungeons and Dragons. And the reason for that is because for years I've been wanting to play Dungeons and Dragons, but I could never find a group that I could join with a DM, so I never found a group that I could just be a player in. And someone suggested to me, well, if you want to play so bad, why don't you DM the group and find players to join you? And so that's what I did. I found 3 other women that will be playing with me, and I will be DMing for the first time. Also means it's my very first time playing Dungeons and Dragons, and so my very first time playing is also my very first time DMing, and it feels a little bit overwhelming. I was given the suggestion by the Essentials Kit, as that would be a helpful tool for a first-time DM. So I bought something called the Essentials Kit. It looks like this. Oh, there's a bunch of dice in there. It looks like this. And basically it comes with pretty much everything you would need for your very first adventure. And I was very excited about this. When I got home and I unwrapped it and I unpacked it, it was very, very exciting to open it up and see all these things for the very first time. So it's got a good set of dice in here that you can use for all of your rolling and stuff. It's got a bunch of information cards about what certain objects do or what certain conditions do. And again, if you're a complete newbie like me, this all is like, what conditions, what status, it won't make any sense. So I'm gonna get into this in a second because I do think it's important. It's got a adventure book, and it's got, sorry, someone's outside my window. It's got an adventure book, and it's got a rule book, and then it's also got a DM screen, which is really cool. And something I never knew is that on the inside of the DM screen, there is a bunch of information that the DM can use. And I never knew that. I thought the DM screen was just there as a partition between the players and the dungeon master, and that the dungeon master could like hide notes and like creatures and monsters from them and like hide their dice from them. But there's actual like information on the inside of the screen as well. So that's really, really cool. I never knew that. Yeah, I'm excited about that. There's a map of the whole region, and it's double-sided, so it zooms in on the actual like sort of starting town, and then there's like a more zoomed out map of the region. And then there's also these blank character sheets. So what kind of sets apart this essential kits from the starter set is that in this, the players get a chance to create their own characters, which is what a lot of people really sort of also like about playing Dungeons and Dragons. Now, I thought that buying this kit would be super, super helpful and like hand-holdy and like step-by-step guiding me as a first-time complete noob dungeon master. And I'll tell you this, it's not. It felt super overwhelming opening it up and starting to read the rules. The rules are kind of all over the place in my opinion, and I have a tendency to think like, oh, I get it, so I jump to like the next sort of like chapter or box or whatever. And what I've learned with this is that don't do that. Do not jump. Like, read every single word in a Dungeons and Dragons rule book or adventure book, because it's not intuitive, at least not to me, who is a complete newbie to D&D. I thought that I would have some sort of advantage coming in because I've played a lot of board games that have like sort of similar setups in terms of like, you know, the role-playing aspect of it, and I've played RPGs on consoles, and yeah, but no, no, it's very unintuitive for a complete newbie who's never sort of been in the D&D world. I've watched Critical Role, I've watched other people play it online, I listened to a D&D podcast, so I've got some of the lingo down, but it's still like seeing it all in front of you and having to sort of go through it was overwhelming. And also, I think that whoever wrote the rule book and the adventure book, I think it can be better. I really, really think it can be more handholdy and step-by-step and like really very clear. But then again, I don't know if there's another product out there called the starter set that maybe that really is way more like handholdy and step-by-step. So I don't know. I bought the Essentials Kit because online it seemed like everyone was suggesting that this was the better option for beginners and introducing players to this. So that's what I did. Yeah. So at the moment, I am feeling very sort of terrified and excited about the whole thing. I'm kind of like, oh my God, I feel like I'm way in over my head. My group is probably meeting up next week for the very first time, which will be their character creation time. I'm thinking that in order to sort of streamline that meeting, I'm going to be sending them their character races and classes beforehand so they can sort of look through that already and have an idea of what race and class they would like to be. Because there's only also one rule book, which is where all the information is. And if you have 3 people who have to go through that, it's going to take forever. So I think I'm going to send that information ahead of time so that they can sort of like take it all in. And then when we meet, we'll do all of the ability scores and like filling in the character sheet and, you know, suiting up basically. And then the other thing that I'm going to do, which the adventure book actually doesn't suggest this. The adventure book suggests that you put out 3 starter quests at the beginning. I'm actually just going to choose one, and I'm not going to give the players a choice because that way I can just focus on preparing one quest for them and not having to prepare 3 quests and like hope, you know, wonder like which one will they choose. So I'm just going to pick one, and like that will be the quest that I'm going to prepare really well. Let's see, what else? Yeah, so I guess my goal is, even though I'm feeling scared, I'm also really excited about this. I've always wanted to play. I never thought that it would be as the role of Dungeon Master. So I think that's why I also want to kind of keep this diary. Hopefully someday maybe I'm like really great at it, or maybe I find out that DMing is not my thing. But I just hope that the game is fun for the players to play and also for me to play. I hope that there's like a good flow and that we're not spending a lot of time like trying to figure out like, oh, is this, are we allowed to do this? Or, you know, is this what the rules are? And, because like I've played board games where we spend like hours flipping through the rules book, Mansions of Madness or like Arkham Horror, hello, trying to figure out like, is that allowed? And it's just like, it's really annoying and it breaks the flow of the game. So I really hope, like what I want most of it is a flow, and I want people, like the players, to kind of forget that we're like playing a game, like, you know, a box, and that we're just having an experience. Like that's what I want. So yeah, I feel like I raced through this video, but that's because I'm trying to do this on IGTV. I'm also recording it as a podcast because I'm not sure if I'll just do a podcast or if I'll do IGTV. So I'm doing both at the same time right now. But IGTV only gives me 10 minutes, which I think is good because, you know, who wants to watch a video for hours and hours and hours? We don't have that time, and it kind of helps me streamline. However, if you have any questions or want to know more, let me know in the comments down below. I'm sure I have plenty of things to say. Basically, the gist is this. Essentials Kit felt very overwhelming, not hand-holdy enough. I'm excited, also scared. Let's do this.